Namaste, Swadika. Welcome to #Women Power, a global movement show. I'm Dr. Manisha. I am the chapter head of #Global Power, a global movement of Thailand. And today we have a gorgeous lady with us. She's very powerful. She is Shalini Joshi Yamdagini, an author and an international pain expert who has empowered herself, and not only herself, but globally many people at individual level, at corporate level, to get relief from the pain that they go through. She has been mentored by none other than Joe Vitale. The book, Instant Pain Relief, is Amazon #1 best-selling book, which she has written in the book everything that she knows about the instant pain relief. And today we have this privilege to talk to her. So a very warm welcome, Shalini, and heartiest congratulations for your book as #1 on
Thank you
Amazon.
so much, Manisha. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be on your platform, which is all about empowering women. So I'm thank you so much.
Shalini, I would like to ask you the first question, which is not about pain relief, but it's just pure out of curiosity. You have a very unique upbringing. As I know, you have been like you and I, we both have children who are called the third culture children because they are from one culture, brought up in another culture. You, from my generation, I don't know people, many who are like you, but you have been here, you were educated there, then you studied here as well, and then you got married in Thailand, again, not to a Thai, but to an Indian. So, did you feel a sense of displacement? Now, the reason I'm asking you is because I come from literature background, and when I would read poetry or I have read authors, this emotion of feeling a little displaced has been very, has it has affected their work as well. So I just want to know a little about your background, your feeling.
Yeah, so actually, what happened was my father moved here in early 1970, mid 1970s, and back then there were not this many international schools. In fact, there were very few international schools, and we were based in Ang Thong, which is a little town near Ayutthaya. So there was no way to get education here. And so I was sent to a boarding school, Nainital, All Saints boarding school and actually Nainital is where I originally come from. I'm from Nainital. My parents are from Almora and Nainital, and my grandmother lived there. So frankly, talking about displacement that you were focusing on, I don't know if I felt so displaced, but I was one of the few people in the boarding school that was there from a foreign country. So 90% of the kids in All Saints in Naini from India. And my parents were here. So in that sense, I felt there was a sense of like, what happened was because I couldn't go back for any holidays. I couldn't go for summer or Diwali functions or even the 2 week summer vacations. I couldn't go because I couldn't go back and forth. So in that sense, I felt a little bit, sort of handicapped in a way because, and I was in a boarding 6.5. So
Oh,
and
that's really smart.
back then, there was slow mail, air mail, right? And there was no telephone. So I would not hear my parents or see them or listen to their voices for 9 months at a stretch. And so that part was, it was upsetting because if you're sick and and you see other parents coming for sports days and functions and my parents would not be there, so in that sense I did like I missed out. But then I came back to Bangkok, and then there I felt a little bit more displaced in a way because I'd grown up in India and we were used to a certain way of being with the teachers and the whole routine. And then coming here was a completely different, and my school was a girls' boarding school, and this was an international school with all kinds of personalities and culture. So it was kind of like not displaced, but yes, emotional challenges to adjust to with culturally. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Shalini, I read your book, and I recently read your book, and I loved it. See, I also was not, I didn't know about this concept. I'd heard of it, but I don't know how much I believed in it. But reading your experience really made me think about it, think about this option, because it's so easy. And the way you've written the book is it flows. Every beginner, teenager can read it, every age group can read it and have something in that. You have written something where you write, you must listen to your pain. You should be aware of your pain. Now, how do you listen to your pain? What do you mean when you say listen to your pain?
Yeah. So, whenever we have pain in our body, generally, we all think of it as like the bad thing, the enemy, to either fix it or stop it or treat it. And because we see pain as just this physical, annoying thing that is limiting us or bothering us and keeping us from doing the things that we want to do, especially if you have chronic pain. And so there's a difference. There's acute pain and there is chronic pain. Acute pain is you had an accident and you have a pain, or you burnt your hand on the stove and you have pain. That's not the pain. Talking about chronic pain that has been there, and whether you had an accident or you didn't have an accident, and you have this pain and it's been going on way beyond its normal treatment, right? And so that is the pain that I'm talking about. Listen to your pain. And so generally, when we think of pain, we think of it as something physical, like something physically is going on with me and I need to address it physically with an ointment, with an injection, with a surgery, with a hot pack, with a cold pack, or a support and neck support or whatever, right? Learned through this journey of helping thousands now with chronic pain issues is that pain is simply a message from your body. It's like a text message that we send, and it's not so much a pain about what's going on with you physically. It is on the surface level, it's about what's going on with you physically, but it's really, really about what's going on with you emotionally and mentally. And if you fail that, then you don't get the lasting relief that you're looking for from chronic pain. And the way to listen to the message is, paying attention to what's the pain in my life right now. A lot of us, we think of our body as a physical thing with organs and tissues and bones and ligaments, and we see it as this physical thing, and it is a physical thing. But we are not our body. We are mind, body, spirit. Triune beings. We are three in one. And so if one part of your life is not working, let's say you have a really stressful job and you hate your boss, and you hate going to the office, that doesn't mean that that has nothing to do with what's going to show up physically in your body, right? So if you are in pain, chronic pain, it's important to say, okay, which area in my life, is it the financial life, is it related work, is it my family, where else am I feeling pain and stress in my life? And so listening to your pain is really about not just looking at it as a physical thing, but diving deeper and saying, what feels painful in my life? And you will soon start to see that, yeah, I am feeling stressed about that. I am feeling stressed about that. I am really upset about that. I really was upset when this happened. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you are a triune being. It's important to listen to the message of the pain. And the message is usually about what's going on inside of you.
So beautifully you've explained about this unison in the body. Now, you mentioned two things. One, you speak about Chakra Diagnosis, which I found it very interesting. And to listen to the pain, you also speak about concept of journaling. So can you talk about these two a little?
Yeah, they're a bit, but
Never, yeah. So you start with maybe chakra diagnosis.
yeah. So I mentioned chakra diagnosis and chakra balancing because actually my journey actually began there because I attended a seminar in Indus, right? And there was this person who was doing chakra diagnosis. So basically, I'm just going to give you a little background. There was a woman who had lower back pain. I had back pain. I had a lot of pain too when I attended that seminar, but I was too chicken to and be a volunteer. But she went up, and this woman took a pendulum, and she ran the pendulum all over this lady's body, and she said she was checking the chakra blocks. And based on the chakra blocks, she asked her to say some affirmation in her mind, not even out loud. And as she said that 21 times in her head, her pains went, like they lessened drastically. As I was curious about what happened because I was in a lot of pain. So that's how I got into this chakra thing. And so basically, what are chakras? See, a lot of people now have become, yoga has become like this international thing right now. Every second person knows about yoga. But a lot of people don't know that what is yoga is basically you're balancing your energy. That is what yoga is. It's about balancing those chakras. Chakras are basically energy centers in your body. Chakra in Hindi means, wheel, a wheel, chakra, right? And wheel, so these are energy centers in your body. Everybody is familiar with 7 chakras, right? And so these are energy centers in your body, and they're spinning. And when they're spinning, right, if they're spinning in harmony with each other, then you experience balance and well-being. And when there is imbalance then you experience disease and pain and all that other stuff. And so I'm not going to go into the 7 chakras and all of that, but what causes these chakras to be imbalanced, right? Why are they imbalanced? It could be the kind of diet that you're having. It could be in your environment, and a lot of the times it is the stress that you're experiencing in your life, because your body intelligence, it knows what to do. It knows how to make a baby, it knows how to clear the bladder, it knows how to heal when you get a cut. But suddenly it doesn't decide to go crazy and you have all these diseases and symptoms. It's something that's going on inside of you that, without realizing it, that stress is impacting your system, right? And so then the chakras become off balance, and then you experience and pain and all kinds of. And the thing is, each of these 7 chakras are related to the different organs in your body and bones in your body and even emotions in your body. So when people are doing yoga, most of them are not familiar with the fact that each chakra that they're trying to balance also has certain types of emotions that it's related to. So yeah, so what happens is, when you're angry or upset or whatever, there's dis-ease in your system, which leads to imbalance of these chakras, which eventually creates disease. And what was your other question?
About journaling, which these are things that I found in your book very interesting, and wrote about intense journaling, which even you did. So, and you recommend, as a tool. So what do you mean by, does it help in listening to your pain, or identifying or creating a self-awareness about?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what happens as human beings, we are always on the go, especially now. We're distracted, we have so many things going on. And we think, a lot of people say, but Shalini, stress is normal, stress is normal, stress is normal. It is normal, right? It is normal, but it is not normal. It is not natural. It's not natural for us to be stressed, and it's to be in a state of, dis-ease within. And so just like it's natural for us physically to get dirty every, right? You sweat every single day. You might go out and you might have dust, and you get dirty. But we daily take time to wash our bodies, shower, clean the hair, and also wash our clothes. But what are we doing with the mental, emotional stuff that's going on intensely every single day? We don't do anything. And so journaling is such an important tool, such a simple tool, it's free. Actually journal, not superficial things, but deeply, what am I feeling? I'm feeling pissed off about this. I'm feeling angry about this. I'm feeling rage that this happened in my life. And we've all got those feelings. It's just we don't take time to acknowledge what's going on with us. Why? Because it's painful. Nobody wants to look at the dark stuff. Nobody wants to address it. We'd rather just like put it in a corner and just pretend like we're all okay, everything's fine and everything's wonderful. And we love, even when I was in chronic pain, I looked fine. But that's not if you really want to take charge of your health and well-being, it is so important to reflect and address what are you feeling. That doesn't mean like if I'm pissed at you, I go shout at you. It's just I can release all that stuff on a piece of paper, and that helps me empty it out. And talking about chakra balances or just being healthy, it's the carrying that is creating dis-ease in your system. Like for example, right now, if you just got a phone call that something really bad happened to dad, instantly you'll feel this uneasiness in your body, and your heart starts beating faster, and your muscles tense up. So emotions cause physical things to happen in the body. Now imagine what we've been through just in the last 2 years. It's been a crazy amount of stress and anxiety, and how are you dealing with it? And everybody thinks they're dealing with it, but actually if you really take time to acknowledge what I'm feeling and cry. I do a lot of crying. So I cry and I journal, and it helps me release all that stuff because I've known the power of emotions. Emotions are key to you. And emotions are really energy in motion. And what are we doing with yoga and all of that? We're balancing the energy in the different chakras. We're making it balanced, right? But if you've got anger and guilt and shame and old stuff that happened in the past, it's all created jams in your. And if you're not going to address it and look at it, it's going to cause pain and disease. Eventually, a lot of dis-ease in your system will manifest as pain or some other symptom. So that's why journaling is a really wonderful tool to like vent and pour your heart out and clear yourself. It's like a inner bath,
Yeah, so
releasing
it's
it
a clearing technique. And
Yeah.
also, you mentioned in the book that even children can do it, whether
Mhm.
it's journaling, whether it's tapping. So you've had experience helping little children out, because moms who are watching this or who will later watch this, it might help them and guide them. So can you share some experience of a child or a few children you've helped with using emotions or journaling?
Yeah, so I'll talk about tapping because my kids don't journal so much, but my kids have been doing the tool that I speak about in this book is EFT, and let me explain it a little bit because I'm sure there's a lot of audience here who have no clue what that is. So EFT is emotional freedom techniques, and to make it simple, it's a little bit like modern psychology meets ancient acupuncture. So what we do in EFT, emotional freedom techniques, is that you just Indian system is called the chakra system, right? We have energy centers. There is an ancient Chinese system, energy system. It's if you're familiar with acupuncture, you know that when you go for an acupuncture sessions, they stick needles on key endpoints of energy meridians, and they stimulate a current, right? And that current is supposed to clear out the energy disturbances. In EFT, we don't use needles, we just use fingertips, and we tap on the same acupressure points just lightly, like that. Tune in to what's going on emotionally. So you think of what's upsetting me. Maybe it's a physical pain, maybe it's an emotional pain. And as you tune into that, then you start tapping on very easy to access points in the body. Number one, I'm just going to go through it. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and under the arm 9. So that's it. These are 9 points. And think about what's upsetting you, and then you tap on these points. How easy is that to remember? And, you know, kids these days learn all kinds of complicated poetry and do amazing things. This is all there is to it. You tune in to what's bothering you and you tap. And so let me give you an example for when my kids were 5 and 6. So my daughter sometimes would come home, and this was when she was in the topsy-turvy, like not even in NIST elementary. She was about 4.5, no, she was 5.5. And maybe she came from, she was not feeling happy. And I said, what happened? And she'd say, like, none of the friends were playing with me. I had to just sit by myself. And she would be all teary, like it was such a horrible thing. And so as she's telling me this story, I would ask her to just tap like this lightly, because she had seen me doing this whole process to get well. So she would just tap like this, and she would tell the story of what happened. Like this happened, and there might be some tears. The energy of this whole jittery energy that she was feeling would release, and in minutes she would be feeling fine, and she would be off to doing something else. Another one of those cases that's mentioned in the book is she had stomach pain when she when I was driving her back from school one day, and she had stomach pain, and I said, do you want to do this tapping thing, she called it, and she said, sure, but I don't know if it's going to help me, because your pain was different, mom, and my pain is different. I said, let's try it. And so she could follow along, right? And all you have to do is, I don't know if you want me to go into the details, but basically you did the tapping process, which is mentioned in the book, very simple to do. And within minutes, her pain was gone, like within minutes. So she thought, my kids at some point thought I had magic fingers, but it was so simple. And here's the thing about teaching tapping to kids. When my son was 10, he was in NIST IB school, and in year 6, personal project. His personal project was about pain relief, and he created videos doing the tapping process himself about how you can get rid of pain and all of that. And then on the day of the performance, what do you call it? The day where
presentation.
Parents invited, the presentation. He led parents. He had charts, tapping points, and he was actually sharing that with parents and teachers and whoever was coming. His project got so much, acknowledgement and endorsement that he was featured that year in his school's magazine for pain relief. So yeah, it's so easy that my kids started teaching other people, teachers, and other. It's that easy to
How
learn.
lovely to give this tool to your children, because as they go on, life only gets more stressful, and if they can just tap rid of the pain, it's so good. Now, Shalini, when I was reading your book, what I loved is in the 14th chapter. I like that technique. Not too many authors use this technique where you give a preview of what is going to be following in all the chapters that are going to come. So besides, I want to tell, I would like you to give a recap to the audience, what is there, the content wise, what are the tools that are there. But I want to compliment you for this particular technique that you've used in that chapter. Makes reading so easy, and it exactly tells you what's coming. because when you have, sometimes you have these voluminous books and you kind of get lost. But in your book, you never get lost. It's always taking you, leading you, So this kind of a lead, which I thought I will compliment you here and not personally. It's a very, very nice book. The way you have structured the book, it has added to the structure of the book. So very quickly, you could just give a preview to the audience. What is there that are there from 14 chapter onwards, because till there, your story and it builds up and
Yeah.
your experience is there. And then the follows what is there for them to do with themselves.
Yeah. So the book is divided into two parts for people who are listening and don't have the book. Part one is just my story through pain. And I wanted to put it there because people don't realize that, oh my God, all that stuff can create chronic pain. And that's why I wanted to show them how my emotional pain and job pain and all of that actually caused my chronic disease and pain. And hopefully they get insights into what's going on in their lives that might be contributing to their pain. And part two is basically equipping you and empowering you with EFT tool. So in part in the chapter right after my story finishes, you learn about what exactly is EFT. I've explained it very briefly here, but you will get an insight about EFT, how did it come about, and what all can it help you with. And then and then the next chapter is about how can you use EFT, how to practice it, the basics of EFT. And you can learn it in 5 minutes, literally, because right now you even have links to videos, that you can watch.
Yes, your
I put
videos.
links, yeah. And then it talks about how can you use EFT to just manage your physical pain. If you have physical pain like I had, I was in, but when I learned how to do it, like my neck wouldn't feel so stiff, my shoulders wouldn't feel so heavy, and I could do more things in the house and do more activity. So you can manage your pain instantly, and as it goes down, you have more access to doing. Not everybody is on bed rest like I was, but like for example, one of the stories is my husband had a neck pain, and we did some tapping, and then he was free of his neck pain, so he could go to the office without his neck pain. So the other chapter is talking about how can you manage your daily stress, and I have like little exercises, and I love those because I have done those with my kids. As you will read, we used to sit together and create this thing called OMM list, on my mind. On my mind list, what's on my mind. We would sit at this table back there, each one with our little papers, and we didn't show each other what was on our mind, but we created our list and we did the tapping, and everybody felt better. So you will learn how you can use tapping, because see, EFT tapping, the basics you can learn in 5 minutes, but EFT is called emotional freedom techniques S. So there are many techniques under the umbrella of emotional freedom you learn. So you learn how to manage your stress. You'll learn how to access deeper painful emotions and learn the process to release them. A lot of the time, most of our diseases that are happening are because of those deeper painful emotions, and emotions like anger and guilt and shame, which we don't acknowledge every day, which don't even come to our mind every day, and we kind of repress it and suppress it, and they lead to all kinds of um, inside the body, and then a lot of intense symptoms. So you learn to do that. You learn how to heal your past. The past childhood issues have a huge role to play in your adult life and forward, and your health. So you will see how there are lots of wonderful case histories, case stories, which you can see, and they are conversational. As I don't know, you haven't read it, but it's like a conversation. So how that childhood issue is creating the current problem. There's a case of somebody having a lower back, and actually the root issues were all the way back into childhood. So you'll not only become
Inner
aware,
child healing. Yeah.
yeah, you'll become aware, and you learn how to address it. and there's lots more. There's another process called personal freeze process, which is all about
Yes.
healing your past. And it's such a simply to do process if you are willing and open to go to those areas of your life which need healing. It's a very simple process, and anybody can learn and do it. So there's, and then at the end of the book, I even have a bonus chapter for
Bonus chapter.
people who are more open to understanding what's going on, and it's a whole metaphorical way of looking at your disease and your pain. For example, if somebody has shoulder pain, then metaphorically thinking about what problems am I shouldering, and kind of looking at things metaphorically. And I give you case studies about how addressing pain that way helped heal the person's like long-term stomach pain or shoulder pain or something like that. So yeah, that's, and then of course just Q&A about if you have any questions. Then there's a whole section on questions already answered for you.
Yeah. Shalini, don't you started healing people yourself and people around 2011, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, I started during
Sorry, 2008. Okay.
2011. Yeah, 2011, my work was online. All my
Okay.
work.
So from before pre-COVID, you were online, but you started healing 2008. Now, from 2008 to 2022, do you see a shift in people's mindsets? Like I see, I don't know about you, you're the healer, but as a teacher, as dealing with young and old, I do see a shift where people are acknowledging their emotions and they're not in denial. A lot of people, they would want to get healed and they do believe. Do you see that shift has come in people where they're more conscious of their emotions?
Yeah, definitely. Like when I started back in 2008, definitely in 2022, there's so much that, mental health and emotional health has become such an important piece in the right. So and we've seen all the suicide cases go up in kids and all of that. So yes, definitely, it's a big shift since when I started out. People still thought like if I do tapping, that means, in fact, as one of my dear friends, she's now a dear friend, but back then when I put an article about EFT on her newsletter way back in 2008, she thought it's for depressed people, like rest, then you'll need emotional freedom. But it's yeah, so it's come a long way since then, and a lot more people are open to dabbling with alternative therapies. Have become a big thing now, and a lot
Yeah,
more.
and you are globally dealing with people like everywhere. You have clients everywhere. Now, Charlene, this is again a very personal question. Do you help people get rid of their own emotions? Now, as a healer, you also must be getting into people's emotions while guiding them. So how do you heal yourself from that? Like, uh, even sometimes you meet a very depressed person, even if you counsel that person for a long time, one does feel a bit drained in their energy, right? And this is your profession. How do you manage to stay so balanced and grounded? How do you heal yourself from that?
Yeah, it actually really depends. So if I really know the person well, then it makes a difference. Then it really impacts me. But I have a cleaning ritual. My kids say I'm a cleaning freak, because I'm cleaning myself all the time. And one of the reasons I'm so connected with Dr. Joe Vitale is because his book, Zero Limits, way back, really influenced me about this constant cleaning process. So if I like I'll tell you, last week I was I had this client She's in the US, and her lower back pain was, she had lower back pain because of which she cannot dance, because of which she cannot, continue her work. And her name is something which is, it's a dancer. And a conversation with her really impacted me, because my daughter is a dancer, my daughter is a singer, and I cannot imagine my daughter not dancing. It's so when I heard her story, and the story was like the husband wasn't allowing her to dance, and she had always been, even though she's a fantastic ballet teacher, she's not been able to allow it, and she's been constricted and restricted. And that really saddened me, that, like, this is her passion. So then I go and clean myself. So with EFT, I can release those emotions, and I don't have to do it all the time with other clients, because not every client is, going to affect me. I've had clients who've lost kids, moms who've lost their 3-year-olds. I've had clients who have experienced rape. And so, and so it's important for me to, if I have to check myself and say, how am I feeling about this? And if there is tears or whatever, I release and I clear them, so that I don't carry everyone on my shoulder. But if it's family members, right, mom, dad, sister, something, then it's even more important, because those are you're really connected and bonded. And yeah, it can be quite heavy, um, dealing
You,
with
yeah,
their.
you just quoted your mentor, Joe Vitale. Now, he writes about you, your book. This is one of the best books he has read on pain relief. Isn't it such a huge compliment, Shalini, for anyone to get from him and he to be your mentor? Can you say maybe some experience with him? Because we've only read him or heard him, and here you've interacted with him. So, what anything you would like to share with us about him?
Yeah, a lot of people are very, intrigued. Like, how did you meet him? How do you know him? And it is intriguing, but the universe has, like, I think, that I first heard of him in 2007, when I discovered EFT tapping, because there was a documentary about tapping in which he was there. So he was, of course, well known because of The Secret, because he's one of the featured stars in the movie The Secret and the book The Secret. But The Secret didn't have such an impact on me as EFT tapping, and the documentary movie on tapping, where I talking about tapping and how tapping was his go-to everyday tool. And so I was fascinated with him, and I said, he's a tapper, and he's doing so well. So I used to follow his YouTube videos. Now, fast forward to 2016, my mentor back then, Alex Mendozian, had invited me to a retreat in Austin, Texas. And I didn't know, but it was like the who's who, like, many global leaders, Dr. Joe Vitale. And I was so excited. And it so happened that, on the lunch tables, I was sitting right next to him. So the whole 1 hour, 1.5 hours of lunch, I was telling him what a fan I was of his, and how tapping had changed my life, how I taught tapping to my kids, and my first doctor, my first client was a doctor, and I told him lots of stories, and he said, you know what, you have so many amazing stories to tell, you should write a book. That's how I actually, he heard my stories and I heard his stories, and he was, at that time, he was going to, for the first time in his life, he was going to sing on a stage. And he said, I'm going to be tapping like crazy, because, he uses tapping to release stress and overcome whatever blocks to doing what he wants to do. And so it was, that's how I met him. Then it so happened that he came to Bangkok, and he invited me because I was like, he knew me. And then he came back again a second time, to do this Missing Secrets to Success event with Jack Canfield and Mike Tyson, and big names. And he asked me personally, like, I want you to lead the audience with tapping. and show them how they can release their inner, mental, emotional roadblocks and achieve success. And so I was on stage with him. And then again, when I was writing he reminded me, are you writing your book? I told you to write your book. And when I was going to New York to leave my son for his university, he happened to be there again just for a few days. So we met there again, and it's just continued. And he has guided me, as you said. The book is very easy to read. Anybody can read it. I think it sort of is like, he's written 85 plus books, but he guided me to have a conversational type instead of just writing
Yes.
everything out. As you've seen, it's like you're part of the conversation, you know what's going on.
Yes.
That guidance came from him. So yeah, it's been an honor, absolutely. And he's been
This
an
is,
angel.
it's a dream to have a mentor like him. I'm sure how great you feel. Now, Shalini, before you leave, what is that one thing you would leave the audience with on instant pain relief?
Yeah, so a lot of people ask, like, what's, how can you have instant pain relief? You just have to try it. If you try EFT tapping, you will experience instant pain relief. But given that this whole thing is about chronic pain, and you want me to share with the audience one thing that they can remember from this conversation, is a beautiful definition that I came across by Ianla Van Zont. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name, but she gave a definition of pain, which I think is beautiful and relevant, and that is: pay attention inward now. PAIN, pay attention inward now. So if you're in chronic pain and you're not getting the relief you want, and you've tried lots of different things, it's time to pay attention inward now. And it's when I started paying attention inward and releasing and clearing those stored emotions, that I was free from my chronic pain.
Fantastic. It was such a beautiful, reading about and knowing about your journey. And honestly, Shalini, I'm not saying this, but I really enjoyed your book. Especially, I did not know anything about it. And I've read it because I've been asking you so many things about the book, even off with the interview. Now, Shalini, this hashtag Women Power movement, we want to make it stronger in Thailand. And I would love to collaborate with you. And we join hands and do something where we can empower women to get rid of so much of pain that they go through, in Thailand. And of course, we will discuss all that. Now, before we end this, I would like to invite Mr. DK Bakshi. He is going to give you a little vote of thanks. He was not supposed to be here because he was in a national press conference, and but he's made time to come here. So I'm very grateful. And he's the man who's behind this movement. He's done amazing work, and he's not only helped women collaborate nationally, but internationally. So, Mr. DK Bakshi, I would like to invite you. Can he hear me? Or is he there? He's not there.
Hi,
Oh, there.
good evening, and what a pleasure. I was on the road, but I could, last 15 minutes, I could hear the conversation on the Facebook, and I just reached and I said, no, I told Varsha I must come and pay my respects to Shalini. Shalini, how have you been?
I've been good. It's been a long time since we connected.
Yeah, but in this long time, I think you have certainly made an impactful presence on what you had envisaged that time. I remember when we met, and at that point of time, I think you were almost getting ready to write a book, I remember. Am I right?
I co-authored another book in the past. That was a different book, but this is my book. That one was co-authored with a few other women.
Yeah. Shalini, first of all, on behalf of hashtag Women Power a Global Movement, I would like to thank you so much for being part of this wonderful program. and accepting to be our guest of honor this evening. And I must thank our chapter head Bangkok, Dr. Manisha Bose, for ensuring that you are here with us this evening. There will be a lot of people who must have watched you, and there will be a lot of people who will be watching this conversation later. And I personally believe that, the guru you choose, in fact, he is my guru as well. I have been sharing the Secret movie in my programs Roadmap to Success and DNA of Leadership more than a decade, not only in India, globally at 17, 18 locations around the world. I read this book, but I was not happy reading the book. But when I saw the movie, I got so fascinated that it became part of my programs. Even in Maruti Suzuki, maybe around 500 managers, I must have shared Secret. Now, I did not share the complete secret. I was sharing, I had made a small, program of secret, and then we used to have a discussion for the next 1 hour. So having said that, the guru, and let's respect and salute Dr. Vitale, and he has been a very profound person, and you getting an, to work with him, to be with him. And I was just wondering, and even this question, the last question Dr. Bose was asking you, how did you meet this guy? And you met at a lunch for 1 hour. I was listening to that when I was on the road, and then getting connected, and he came to Bangkok, and finally I'm amazed and I'm extremely happy that he has written on your book that this is one of the most beautiful, wonderful book in the world. And let me give a big round of applause for you.
Thank you.
For making sure that you could make your mentor a guru so extremely happy and delighted that he could write for on your book.
Thank you.
Having said that, I will go through the program later on, surely, on the entire conversation. But the way last 10, 15 minutes I was listening, it was really impactful. And I also believe, Shalini, when our hashtag Women Power Global Movement in Thailand under the leadership of Dr. Manisha Bose is making great strides. Unfortunately, we missed you on 26th of February. We had a very big event in Bangkok. I don't know how we could not get you there. You could have been part of our event. Though I was in touch with Sam, but then it did not work out. I was in touch with Sam for a couple of things. So Sam is known to me closely. So therefore, I would not like to spend much time. I would like to thank you from the core of my heart and on behalf of hashtag Women Power Global Movement, which we are progressively moving towards 1 million women on this platform, irrespective of caste, color, creed, nationality, and religion. And we are now, I am the founder of this movement, and I was the only man around, but then we are now requesting many men to join this movement so that they can support. And Manisha ji, I think I'm extremely delighted that you could get Shalini here. And Shalini, one question to you.
Sure.
In the vote of thanks, normally you don't question, but one important question, what next you plan to do? Because de-stressing, healing in today's world, at individual level, at family level, at corporate level, at community level, at country level, and at global level is the need of our. So there is no end to, de-stressing people from the present situations what they are in. So that is one of a very profound. I mean, one is profession, you make money also out of it, and but at the same time, you will be healing the world. So what next do you plan?
Actually, for me, I don't know about grand plans ahead, but I'm very grateful that this book is out. It became a bestseller, and it's doing well. Because the thing is that, if you read the book, this book is dedicated to my children.
Wow.
And my children have been using this tool since they were 5 and 6 years old, all through elementary school, whether they had fights or they were sick or they had anxiety about performances or they had, just feeling not good enough or whatever. We only used EFT tapping. Whether they had cold, cough, fever, whatever, we used EFT tapping, because when you clear the energy, then you're in peace and harmony, and you do well. And so why I am so passionate about getting this book out there and getting it to so many people is because it's, number one, it's a people's tool. Anybody, your grandmother, your kids, your uncle, your aunt, your brother, your sister, anybody can learn it. So it's not like I'm the healer. I don't want to be the healer in the sky. I want to equip this tool to so many people. I would love to equip children with it, even more children, because you can use it by yourself, on yourself, and you have a tool to navigate life. It's like a priceless tool. Now my kids are in university, and they have uni challenges, whether it's relationship, whether it's stress, getting a job, and this, every phase of life you have different challenges. So it's a people's tool. Number two is that it's a very versatile tool, as you will read. I mean, I initially used it to heal myself from my chronic pain, but then I was on stage with Dr. Joe Vitale about missing secrets to success and how to overcome inner roadblocks, your limiting thoughts, your limiting patterns, how to identify them and clear them yourself. Once you know how to do it, then you can keep doing it again and again and again for the rest of your life, for whatever challenges come your way. So it's a priceless tool. It's a versatile tool, not only for physical pain, but for emotional pain and also clearing limiting beliefs. I mean, I helped my daughter. She used to have, dry throat, and she's a singer, dancer, actor, performer. And so she was able to deal with this dry throat. So it's such a versatile tool that you can use it for just about anything. And that's what the founder of EFT says, that try it on everything. And that's what I've written the book. Just try it on everything. I've tried it on tooth pain, on fever, on many other things. So the grand plan is to empower people, because I have been so helpless and so at the mercy of the medical system. And when nothing was going well for me, I thought I was going to be stuck on bed and just watch my life go by and just watch my kids. And I was this poor girl who had no skills to take care of herself, because the experts are supposed to know what to do with me, and I am just a simple person. So I want to equip every simple, normal, everyday person with this tool so that they can learn it and they can be the healers for themselves. Heal whether the physical pain or the emotional pain, and get them out of, get them unstuck and unstoppable. So that is why I feel so passionately about it. This tool it's not Reiki where you have to come to me and I'll be the healer and I'll do it, or any other tool. You can, I taught my kids, and this book is dedicated to my kids. And I say in the dedication that, I know that whenever you're in stress, your hands automatically go to your collarbone and you start tapping, because it's part of their system. And I don't have to be there to take care of whatever's going on with them. So it's a very empowering tool. And that's the plan. The plan is to equip as many people. And yours is a beautiful movement of empowering women. And I know, as a woman, when I was in pain, I was stuck on bed, and a mom on bed is not a good thing for the entire family. So a woman empowered and a woman healed is a force that is unstoppable, and a force for the good. So I'm very excited to be associated with this movement. And that's the plan, is to empower people to take charge of their lives.
And Shalini, Mr. Bakshi, without your permission, I will tell her a little plan. What next? In June, we are going to have a roundtable where we are going to meet up, where all women meet up. They pay for their own coffee, but we have discussion on what next, actually. So I would like you to take a session, to empower all of us. And then from there on, we can see there could be a corporate training workshop we can pitch for. We can do so many things. You can empower women. They can make career out of it. Let's see. So in June, you will have a session when Mr. Bakshi is here. And when there is a gathering, I would love you to come and have a little session there. And then we all collaboratively decide what next for all of us through this movement as well.
I would
Okay,
like,
thank
I
you
would,
so
I would like
much.
to, I would like to add that 11th, 12th, 13th June, Dr. Kiran Bedi, my mentor, I am planning her to be there around this 11th, 12th, 13th, so that we have an event. And during that period, of course, but before that, I think you need to be certainly be in touch with Dr. Manisha Bose to take things forward. And I'm grateful. There are a lot of people already on this show. Milane, my Spain chapter at Spain, Milane, super duper women power. I can see her watching you. Geetika Mishra, our chapter at Indonesia, Jakarta is watching you. I can see Dr. Rani, very close relationship with Dr. Rani, and she is watching you. I can see, Devinder Pool watching you. I can see Madhu Raina Pandey, another super duper women power from Mumbai watching you. I can see your another friend, Juhi Chawla, what's her name? Juhi watching you. Juhi says she is my dear friend and she introduced me to this easy tool, very versatile tool indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen around the world who is watching it now and who are going to be watching it later, hashtag Women Power, a global movement, which is now 2-year-old. Of course, you are watching that we are doing face-to-face programs in Bangkok, Delhi. Now it's going to be Mumbai in April, and it's going to be continuing. I think Dr. Manisha Bose is in London in May or June, and London chapter is arranging a program face-to-face in London as well. So keep watching this program. We are not going to be doing every Saturday and have 4 programs in a month. We'll be very flexible. We're doing between Monday to Saturday and maybe 1 or 2 online programs. And I'm really grateful to Dr. Manisha Bose for arranging this event today. Though I was back to back, I had a press conference and I was rushing, but I wanted to be here for a few minutes. And Dr. Shalini, proud of you. And I know your family and proud of you that you have really made an impactful presence to your life. And you are going to be now telling the world about your achievements. For that, I salute you as a women power. Remain in touch. Let's meet up in April when we will be there.
Yes, Shalini, you have this platform. Be in touch. Let's see what we could do even with this movement and taking it up. Just first we want to strengthen it here and then start connecting up and make it stronger internationally as well. Okay, thank you so much, Shalini. It was lovely, and my copy awaits at your place. I need to pick that copy up. I've just read the PDF.
Even I would like to read the book.
I was just about to order it. I'm not letting you borrow my book. You'll buy a copy from her, Mr. Bakshi.
Sure, okay. I will like to buy that. Okay. In case there's a need, then we can even promote this book in India as well.
Yes, we should. It's empowering, very empowering to heal your own pain. Thank you, Shalini. Namaste, Swadika, and have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All the best. Good luck. Bye. Take care. Bye.